Welcome, everybody, to the Canadian Esports Championship Series. My name is Wilby, and I will be your host this evening. Tonight, we have a fantastic lineup of players ready to get down to it. Passion Posse versus... why am I forgetting it right now? It's
WinnipegS Imps.
Imps. That's why, because I was going to say their real name, but we can't say it on Twitch. WinnipegS Imps, we haven't seen them a lot on stream actually, and I'm not going to be the only one here. We have Samwise back once again on this beautiful Friday evening to cast some COD. How you doing, Sam?
Not too bad. I'm looking forward to watching some COD. I've kind of been watching COD throughout the day because CDL is back in season, so looking forward to seeing some more. We might have some meta changes in store. You never know. So looking forward to see what we got tonight. Passion Posse, they're a very, very good team, so I imagine they're gonna light up the scoreboard tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. Passion Posse currently number 2 in the rankings right now. We have Timbits up top, and we have WinnipegS Imps, which are 4th. So WinnipegS Imps actually have about 6 points less than Passion Posse so far. I believe the amount of games played, though, is... the difference is only, if I can do that properly, it looks like only 1. So I think I don't know if, I guess the full games played is an entire best of 5, so the points are split up a little differently. I'm trying to see it on the tournament, but it's not the easiest to read.
Yeah. Well, the last time, so these two teams have gone against each other before, only once so far. And Passion Posse did win 3-0 in that one. So it'll be interesting to see if WinnipegS Imps come out a little bit different this time around. Maybe they made some adjustments. Maybe they're going to, try some new stuff and get a little bit more improvement under their belt. They're running on a little bit of a win streak at the moment. So we'll see what they can pull off.
How do you come back, though, playing against Timbits, right? I'm pretty sure we saw Passion Posse and Timbits the other day. So how do you come off of playing against a team like that and having kind of your confidence rocked, right? You're a top dog in the league right in the beginning, then this other team kind of comes up and knocks you down one. Do you just keep doing what you're doing and grind it out, or do you switch things up?
Yeah, I mean, Passion, they've pretty much, well, they've won every game except for the game against the 2 matches against Timbits. So you got to imagine that they're probably, I would think from my perspective, I think they're going to be coming out on fire. They're going to be lighting it up because they're going to be, riding the heat of their previous loss, just thinking like they're really going to want to get back to it, and they're going to be using that kind of animosity in the series. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of them. I imagine you're not going to see a very lazy series out of them. They're going to be heating it up, trying to get those reps in before their next match against Timbits, which will end up being in the playoff bracket. So that's the one that's really going to matter. So we will see how they come out, but I imagine they'll come out on fire tonight.
I really hope we see that. I also hope we don't see a 3-0 in this best of 5. I feel like we have had a I actually don't know if we've ever gone to entire 5 maps, and part of me would always like to see that, get more caught out of it.
Yeah, I think one of the only times, actually 2 of the only times that we've seen it go to the full 5 maps was actually WinnipegS Imps both times. So it'll be interesting to see it was against Cobra Elite and then against Comrade Kittens. So they could very well go to a map 5. I mean, these 2 teams, like I said last time, it was a 3-0 for Passion, but if Winnipeg, they come out, a little bit more improved of a team, they might be able to stretch it out a little bit, make this an entertaining series.
I think so, indeed. I think that we really need to. Hey, we got some love in the chat, by the way. We really need to kind of start outlining, like, we've seen these strats that the teams are coming out at the top end, right? We can kind of see this, kind of clear defined, line of who's been really putting in big numbers, and I want to start seeing, you know, those heads kind of, you know, butting a little bit more often, right? As we're slowly coming up, playoffs are going to be in a couple of weeks as well. I would say we're about week 5 technically, I think, in the Call of Duty division. So you know, a couple of weeks later, then I think we've a week or 2 break, and then we hit playoffs, right? So I want to see these teams really start combating each other a little bit more, and you know, just having them, like you said, kind of have that fire, have that fight to come back, no matter if they're, you know, they play poorly or whatever it is. I think you kind of have to have that, especially in COD, you know?
Yeah, 100%. So let's take a quick look at our map lineup for the series. So starting off, map number 1 is going to be Apocalypse Hardpoint. Map number 2 will go to a raid, search and destroy, and then we stay on raid for the control and the map 4 hardpoint. And then should it go the full distance to the map 5, it'll be an express search and destroy. So we're looking at a pretty good series. Apocalypse, not a map that we see too often. Lots of teams, they're not super comfortable taking it. It's a fairly rotation heavy, fast paced map, so it can be pretty devastating if you get down. And then of course raid, good old tried and true Black Ops 2 raid coming back out for 3 maps. So we'll see how the series ends up playing out. It seems like a very, very good lineup. And I don't think there's a lot of overlap with the last time that these two teams played out. So we could see some interesting stuff going on. Maybe, you know, maybe some vetoes were taking place that resulted in some target bans. You never know what's going to go on in the league now that these teams, they kind of start to figure each other out a little bit. They figure out what their best maps are, what their worst maps are, and so hopefully we get a good series here. WinnipegS Imps will be hosting the first 2 maps, so that gives them a bit of an advantage, especially on the hard point. So we should should we go the full 5 maps, I think that'll give them the advantage of being able to kind of stretch the series a little bit, because they are, of course, the underdogs going into this one. So we'll see what happens there. Apocalypse Hardpoint, for those of you who don't know, is just a new map added to the game recently. Very, very small map. Tends to be very sub heavy. You tend to see the teams will run usually 3 AK-74Us, 3 subs. So we'll see what kind of meta we have in place. So here we go. Apocalypse Hardpoint loading on up. Our 2 teams are in, and we're excited for the match. Here we go.
Bring it right in here. So this is actually the first time, yeah, I've ever casted this map as well. Really excited. You're gonna have to follow along. I mean, not follow along. I'll have to follow along with you, right? As Noel just gets 2 frags and completely takes out 2 of Passion Posse's players. Yeah, you got to teach me about the map a little bit. I learned from the master, right?
Yeah, so of course the first hill here is going to be right down the middle, and you can see the team's already fighting for the rotation, which is going to take place over where number 7 is right here, Big Daddy Caster. He is starting to rotate already, but he gets pinched off by Winnipeg, so they are looking forward towards the rotation already. They managed to flip the spawn, so that's going to be huge for them. 20 seconds left on old, so Passion's probably going to pick up most of this time. Of course, it's a fairly fast-paced map, but the rotations are really key here, because you see, when you look at the minimap even, you can tell that this hop-up on the hill is not the easiest place to push, so you kind of have to play around both sides of the map. As I say, that Savvy Engineer, he just jumps up and manages to pick up a kill before getting traded out, so huge plays by him. Just kind of contested at the moment, but Winnipeg still in control of the spawns.
Absolutely, but points are tied up here. Now we see Winnipeg's just taking 2-point lead on there. Nobody is on that point. Do you think this is going to make maybe a little bit more even between the teams that are kind of ranked differently because the map is so new?
Yeah, it very well could. Like, there's not a ton of experience, not a ton of known information on the map. Plus, not to mention, the pros haven't been playing this map very much at all. So there's not a lot of VOD to go over of how teams are properly playing the map. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what kind of new strategies come out. But like I said, very rotation heavy, and a meta change. You see Caster here is bringing out the Milano as a new submachine gun instead of the 74U. I think that's the only one we've seen so far. But he's going to make fast work with it. It tends to be maybe shooting a little bit of bodies there, getting a little excited. But the Milano tends to be a choice on maps where head glitches are very advantageous. So like Raid and Apocalypse, because it's not the most damaging weapon, but it shoots extremely, extremely straight. So it can be really, really easy to rip people off of head glitches with it. But you can see Dom, he's getting nice and aggressive with the 74U here. Picks up another one. And can he get it on Big Daddy? Unfortunately, he cannot. But at the moment, it's still fairly close, right? Winnipeg, they're up about 20 points, but very, very close so far.
I still think the AK-74 users that are the Krieg, you know, somebody like Posse. We see these long range. I've said it before, you know, 40 bullets better than 30. But I do like that Caster. Yeah, is playing with the Milano. I played a little bit with it, and I haven't played with it too much. It's interesting, but the 74U play, I mean, you know, Dom has been an absolute monster, and as I say that, Caster's Curse Savvy Engineer takes him out.
Yeah.
Posse just defending the point here, getting taken out by Big Daddy. It seems like Winnipeg's Imps, even though they have the lead in the points, they're just getting picked off one by one. Like Passion Posse is just kind of reading their spawns back in, right?
This map is a fairly easy read. Dom did manage to get some streaks in the meantime, so he called in the Hellstorm missile there, and now you can see kind of a string of kills going the way of Winnipeg. But as I say, that Savvy picks up 2, and now he's going to be in control of the hill. If you don't get a full setup properly on this hill, it can be really, really tough to get a lot of time. That's why you can see we're only at 70-70 right now, going into the final hill of the rotation. And this final hill, it's all the way at the back. This tends to be a nice money hill for the team that's in control. So we'll see if Winnipeg can maintain control of this hill. There's only 2 entry points onto the hill, so very, very easy to defend once you have control. And Winnipeg's going to show us their best moves at the moment. They're going to rack up a ton of this time, and they're pushed out pretty far as well. So this is going to be a really, really good chunk of time for them. But of course, Passion, they know what to do. They're pushing through the back to get those spawns. Some shaky shots from Dom, long range. Can't win against a Krieg. But Carney, with a Krieg of his own on the hill, picks up Caster, and they shut down the push. As I say that, however, because they flipped the spawns, they have the early reinforcements and managed to take the hill just for the remaining about 20 seconds of scrap time. Should be able to tie it up, but Noel, he gets a big 2, and that'll give him the remainder of the time. And now we're going back to the second rotation in the middle of the map. And this is going to be, this is going to be a very contest-heavy hill right here. Dom slowing down a little bit as the map progresses. As I say that, though, he gets 2. Just can't seem to pick it right here. Caster going on a nice flank, though. He's thinking ahead. He knows they want to get these spawns for next. And manages to get another one on Dom as well. So that's huge for him. 2 players from Winnipeg have to turn around and try to deal with him. Reinforcements not quite there yet. Meanwhile, Wazzy gets a kill on the hill before going down. Noel, though, with a big 2, manages to take the back control. He was the reinforcements for Dom. So does go down, and the rotation is in. 20 seconds left on the old hill. Passion needs every second of this time. Meanwhile, gunfights going both ways. Trades coming through. Looks like Big Daddy Balls didn't have the read there on where the spawns were coming in. And Passion should be in control of the new hill for now, but we'll see what Winnipeg can do to break.
Got 50 seconds left on this, so I mean, if they hold it, at least you know, it seems like they're going to be able to surpass Winnipeg if Big Daddy Caster actually keeps this up. Really fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it is backwards. I knew it. That's what I was. Oh no. Okay, so
is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is.
I knew it in the
is
lobby, and
blue.
I thought it was okay. I see now. All right, so folks, it is backwards. Passion Posse is I don't know how we didn't realize
is blue.
Passion Posse is blue. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I mean,
thought the names were a little weird. I was like, that doesn't seem
I
right.
I didn't clue in until I saw the whole Big Daddy crew, and I'm like, wait, that's not Bastion Posse. All right, I guess we're at it though. So that means that we have Winnipeg actually, yeah, taking the lead here. It's fantastic. Passion Posse is on the next point though, and just as I say that, Winnipeg pushes them right off, continuing their lead on with about 2 minutes 30 seconds left
Yeah,
overall. But
Passion.
ooh.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna
Yeah,
say I thought
Passion's
he got
able to
that
break
pistol,
through.
but he did.
Yeah, almost, but the reinforcements were there, and they get spawns directly on the hill too. So Passion in a good spot to get these remaining 30 seconds. Now they're going to start pushing out to old, but meanwhile the kill comes through onto Wazi at the old hill, and 2 other players go down. Dom, he's going to be all alone, gets shot in the back. Somehow manages to survive, but not for very long. And then Winnipeg's going to take control of the hill, and they've got the rotation anew, so this is huge for them. They could be looking to pass the 200-point mark right here pretty soon. Ozzy's just picking up the scrap, but he's going to have to go help his team pretty soon. Dom's just waiting to pounce.
There we go.
Finally pounces. There it is, and they get to control of the hill. That's huge for Passion. Spawns do flip.
Let's say,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna see. We see if Dom he dropped down the 74U. Actually, dropped down his pistol for the Krieg. I want to see if he can put in some work, but part of me suspects, yeah, he's gonna switch right back and reload. No, he picks up the Milano, and that's why you should not change what you're used to mid round unless you need to, right?
Yeah, he's holding down the square button a little bit too hard there and picks up an unfortunate weapon in the scenario, but still some gunfights. It's a very close hard point at the moment. Dom kind of leading the scoreboard a little bit for Passion, and then of course Caster on the other side, and kind of leading the scoreboard in engagements as well. So we'll look for those two to kind of line things up here as they go towards the new rotation. Dom's got a nice little flank here. He should be able to help his teammate. Doesn't even need the help. So now he can turn around, pick up Engineer. And the rotation's coming in. Winnipeg now knows that they're going to have to push from the back, but 2 big kills go down. The remaining 2 players on the board, they're going to have to just hold off, wait for the reinforcements so they can do a nice solid push. Number 4, that's Noel. He gets out of position a little bit too quickly, and 4 massive kills going the way of Winnipeg. They're going to be able to hop on the hill right away now, pick up the remainder of this time, and Passion, they spawned all the way on the other side of the map. It looks like they might go for one last push here. The next hill is the middle of the map, so they don't have to worry too much about getting spawns. Dom with a nice flank there gets the first, gets the second with the help of Noel, and now they're going to pick up the remaining 10 seconds. They're only about 20 seconds away here from getting the win, and they're going to try and do it here on the middle hill, P1.
Get ready for it to be contested though. We see Winnipeg just jumping right in there, trying to keep Passion Posse off of it. Awasi getting a really nice frag onto Big Daddy Bows. Got HOF for Hoff onto Awasi. They're just firing back and forth, but it does look like Passion Posse prevails in this battle. Carney getting a really nice frag on a Caster, getting a second frag on
Nice.
How do we pronounce it? Let's chat. Do you know, is it Hoff? HOF? We'll figure that one out.
We'll say Hoff probably.
I think Hoff.
There's some interesting names in this one. The Big Daddy triplets on the side of Winnipeg. But looks like 2 seconds to go for Passion to take the first one, and scratch that. Passion takes the win, 250 to 198. They take the map 1. I mean, it wasn't really, we pretty much expected that to happen. They were the favorites going into this one, but it was fairly close throughout the entire map. I think the streaks didn't really make too much of a difference. At the end of the day, it was just those hill breaks on the side of Passion once the guns warmed up, and they managed to take the lead 1-0 in the series. The next map coming up is going to be a raid search and destroy. Looking forward to see that one. Winnipeg is going to host this one as well. And we're going to get those team names sorted out for you as well as we go, setting up for the next one. But a good first map, a nice, entertaining first map. Of course, we don't get to see Apocalypse a lot, so that was a nice treat. going into the raid, search, and destroy, where we have seen both teams play raid, search, and destroy quite a bit. Tends to be a fairly textbook map in terms of those strategies, but we'll see if anybody pulls out something new, something wacky. Still no snipers or smokes, so won't see too many interesting plays, let's say, but there's always room for some improvement on both sides. This one's also going to be hosted by Winnipeg, so we'll see if they can kind of use that to their advantage, maybe. See how the map plays out.
I think I mean, Winnipeg didn't explicitly do a bad job. It just seems like Passion Posse were just quick to hop on those new points kind of every time, right? And they had those covered.
Yeah, and just looking back, I'm just watching because we are on a 90-second delay, so I'm able to see kind of a replay of the end of the previous map, and it looks like the hill time was quite spread throughout Passion Posse, as opposed to Winnipeg, who kind of had Hoff had like 2 minutes of hill time, and then the rest of the team was much lower than that. So really, I think the end of the day probably is Passion was able to stack the hill a lot more with their entire team, which gave them a lot more foundation for a defensive setup. Whereas it seemed like Winnipeg was kind of getting picked off throughout the entire space of the map, and then allowed for Passion to get in a lot easier on those breaks, so giving them the advantage there. But of course, like you said, still a very close first map. I think we might be in for a series here. I'm curious to see how these teams do in the search, and hopefully we go to a full map 5, but we'll take it one at a time.
Search though is I mean, search takes a different type of player, right? You as much as like hardpoint is exciting, right? Search, you have to slow right down. Not saying that you can't push quickly, but there's with something like a hardpoint or even control, right? Even if you're losing your lives until it's right at the end, you kind of have that bit of freedom, right? You can take those cheeky peeks. You can try to play aggressive and all that. And when it comes to search, you can still do that, but obviously if you get punished for it, your team's in a really bad situation. Plus, it's with Call of Duty, right? It's 4-on-4. So unlike Valorant or CSGO or other tac shooters, we see that you lose one player, it's an entire quarter of your team, right? It's a lot more important than losing maybe 20%. That 5% is really important. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see Raid though. Raid's always fun to watch.
Yeah, it's a nice classic map. Plays out very, very well, especially in search. It plays out really, really nicely. So, and like you mentioned, that mindset change going from a hard point to a search is definitely something that takes a while to get used to. That's for sure. Call of Duty, it provides us with a ton of variety, the kind of variety that doesn't come out of something like Valorant. Where you have to go from one game mode to another, completely switching your brain, essentially like a light switch in between maps, and got to be able to adapt very quickly. It's also interesting to see because it goes a potentially full 11 rounds. You're looking at lots of time for the two teams to figure each other out and figure out the tendencies of individual players. And what you tend to see is if one particular team is dominant throughout the beginning of the map, maybe they go up 2-3-0, and then you see the other team will bounce back with 3 or 4 rounds of their own because they'll figure out the strategies and the tendencies of the leading team and then make the adjustment appropriately, and usually works out pretty well in their favor. So it really comes down to, in those later rounds, how quickly can you adjust and adapt to the way the other team is playing and counter their strategies and their tendencies while still doing your own thing.
And that's kind of a point that it really gets a lot of it gets in your mind, right? You end up going and saying, all right, do we play almost anti-strat on what our opponents are doing, or do we play our game and trust in what we've set out, what we've practiced? Because if you anti-strat too much, you no longer have it just doesn't work, right? Like we got that out of. It always reminds me of the old school Hellraisers from back in the day that were the NIP back in CSGO back in the NIP days. Like I'm talking like, you know, years ago, like 7, 8 years ago, and all they did was anti-strat one team. Well, yeah, you do that, but you're a one-trick pony, right? So you have to have that balance,
Yeah.
in my opinion, to be able to go and say, all right, we have our executes, we have our defaults, we know how to play. We'll trust in that. But if you know, you're playing search and they keep hitting A and you're getting 0 intel B every time, you know, maybe throw another guy on A and then get them ready for a quick rotate over in case they do come B. You know, like try to get those reads out, because it only goes to 6.
Yeah, and it's you know, Call of Duty is very unique in the sense that your strategies kind of only take you at the beginning of the match, and then at the beginning of the round, I should say, and then kind of as the the match progresses, you end up with those kind of weird situations that you can never plan for, and then you end up just basically basing the entire round off of how you react to those situations. And in those situations, it tends to come down really, really heavily to teamwork and how well and coordinated your team is to be able to adjust properly. You know, the common saying is that that you're better off making the wrong play together than the right play individually. And that tends to be the case in Call of Duty, especially in Search and Destroy. If your team is sticking together and playing in unison and on the same page, you might not make the correct play every single time, but if you're all on the same page, then it tends to work out fairly well for you. And I mean, basically, after the first, as soon as the first blood, second blood comes through, maybe a couple trades go back and forth. All of a sudden, it's throw all strats out the window. It's just let's react to the current situation and see what we can make of it. You know, you see lots of rotations coming in, and those are all plays that are being made in the spot, right? You have team captain just calling it out. IGL just calls it out in the game. All right, we're going to rotate back to B. We're going to rotate over to A, make the play in the moment. The strategies can only take you so far, and that's one of the beautiful, unique things about Call of Duty that we all love. Apologies for the delay here. We're just trying to figure some stuff out.
I was gonna say really quick. We are going to go for a quick break. We're waiting for Winnipeg to come in. So yeah, I was gonna just get us on a really quick break if you're down for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will see you guys probably in like I don't know, 2-3 minutes probably. So just stay tuned, grab a snack, and we will be right back.